Okay, here we are on section 5, the main game scene. Now, if I'm candid with you, I'm a bit anxious here because I've done this before on my work computer and I put it all in right, but it didn't actually work. I didn't have my mobs on the screen and I couldn't work out why not. But I'm pretty sure that I missed a part in the last video. And don't worry, not the last video that you saw, but when I did it at work. So, let's hope that this time I get a pleasing result. So I'm going to create a new scene and add a node to it. Now this is just a node, this is not a node 2D or anything else like that. So this seemed a bit unfamiliar to me last time, but let's go. Scene, new scene, there we go. Add it, and I'm just adding a node. There we go, so just plain node. And then we're going to name it main, sure. So I double click and I call it main. So far so good. Now, click the instance button represented by the chain link and select your saved player T scene. Okay, so I've got that selected. I press the chain link and I'm choosing my player T scene. Okay, terrific. Yep. Okay, that seems to work. I have got all this other stuff over here that I'm sort of vaguely concerned about. Let me just have a quick read through this. Now, add the following as the node, following nodes as the children of main. Okay, so this stuff over here, I'm clearly not too worried about at the moment. So I go up to main and I'm adding a child. Okay, well, what's the first child? The first three are all timers. So it's going to be a timer called mob timer. Okay, well, let's get the timers. Help if I was in the right spot. Timer, there it is. And I'm going to name that mob timer. Mob timer, terrific. And then I'm going to create another timer called score timer. So again, I right click there and add another child, another timer. And this is score timer. Score timer, there we go. And the last one I'm adding is start timer. Okay, so again, I'm right clicking and adding a child mode, another timer, and this one is going to be called start timer. Oops, no spaces there. Okay, and the last thing that I'm adding is a marker 2D called start position. Okay, so again, right click and add child node. Now this one, I've already forgotten it. What's it called again? It's called marker 2D. So I'm just going to search for marker here. Again, help if I was in the right area. Marker 2D. Yep. And I'm going to call that start position. So, start position, and I better spell that right, otherwise it's not going to work. Start position. Okay, fantastic. Now, it wants me to set the wait time for each of the nodes. So mob timer, it wants to be half a second. So mob timer, over here in the inspector, we'll say that it's currently 1 second, so I'm going to set that to 0.5. Score timer, I'm pretty sure is just 1, so I'll leave that be. And start timer is 2. There we go. So far, so good. In addition, set the one-shot property of start timer to on. Okay? And okay, let's just concentrate on this for the moment. So start timer, which is there, and the one-shot property is there. Okay? So far, so good. Now I'm setting the position of start position. Okay, that's start position there. Yep. Now, I've got all sorts of things going on here. Transform, I wonder if that's it. So, set the position of start position to 240, 450. Okay, so 240 and 450. I'm guessing that tells something to be in that place, and I wouldn't mind betting it's the player, but we'll find out. Okay, next up, spawning mobs. So we'll be spawning new mobs. Now this is a bit that I actually didn't get to work last time. So we're going to add a path 2D named mob as a mob path as a child of main. Okay, path 2D, sure. So main, add, and again over here, path 2D, yep, as a child of mob. Sure, as a child of main, yep. And I'm going to call it mob path. Sure, why not? So, mob path. There we go. Now, when I click on it, it tells me that I will see this stuff at the top, which I don't actually see. I'm wondering if I go into 2D. There it is. Now, I'm just going to zoom in a bit here so that I can see my playing area a bit better. There it is. So, I have these buttons up the top here. So the middle one, the one with the green, is add point. Now, it says make sure that you use Snap Grid and use Smart Snap, and they're these two here. Okay, well, let's see if I can get this right. So I'm going to turn those two on. Oh, good, they seem to be behaving themselves. Now I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to put my first point in here. There we go. Now, although it's drawn that square, I've actually only drawn half the square there, so I'm going to draw 2/3 of it. Actually, I'm not. I've done 4 whole points, and then I press this little icon here, and it joins them up. So now we have a continuous path there. Okay, let's go back. So, and it says to remind us to draw them in a clockwise order. So that's what I did. I started in this corner and I did them like that. Now it says to click on close curve, which I did. Now the path is defined, we're going to add a path follow 2D as a child of mob path. Okay, so mob path is getting a child and it's got path follow 2D. So there's mob path, it's getting a child, and it's called path follow 2D, which actually just happens to be there as well. Terrific. Now what do I do with this? We're going to name it mob spawn location. Again, really important to use the names that they're giving me. Mob spawn, that's not how I said that, and then I didn't actually do it. Location, terrific. There you go, this node will automatically rotate and follow the path as it moves, so we can use it. Okay, so let's have a look. It says that I should have all of those things there. Alright, let's have a look. Yeah, I think I do. Let's hope I'm right. Alright, let's add some script. So, first things first, we're going to add that to the top. Now, at the moment I don't have a script, so I'll just go back to my main, and I'll press there to add a script, and you'll see that it's creating main GD. And again, I get all that boilerplate stuff there, but I'm not going to keep it. Extends node, good, that's what I thought. So far so good, no errors. I'm just going to save now, so that's just saving my main scene. Fantastic. Alright, so click on the main node and you will see mob scene property. Mob scene property in the inspector under script variables. Yeah, I seem to remember that this is where I got a bit confused last time. So, main, mob scene empty. Okay, yeah. So, enter and choose load, and I'm going to choose mob scene. So, I'm going to say load. I don't know what the difference between load and quick load is, and I'm going to choose mob scene. Okay, so far so good. There we go, I've done that. Now select the instance of player scene under the main node in the scene deck. Okay, so let's go over here. Now, I wonder what it means here. I've got some scripts, certainly. I wonder if it means that. Player, okay, that does mean that. So I've chosen the player because I've got it over here in the scene and I've got it over here in the main window. So, the player under the main node on the scene deck, and access the node dock on the sidebar. So let me just pause this while I have a think about what that means. Okay, well I have found my bearings. So we're going to have a look at player and we're going to look in the nodes for it. So there's my player there, which I got to by clicking on that tab, and there it was. And then when I go over here at its nodes, you'll see there's a list of things here. And what it tells me to do is find and double click the hit signal. Right, there it is there, not the hit symbol, the hit value, I guess. And it says receive a method on hit. Well, the tutorial actually tells me that I want to call that game over. So game underscore over. So game underscore over, and then I connect that. So you'll see that I've got this function down here with a pass on it, and when I go back it's going to give me some code to put in there. So function game over and function new game. Okay, so I'm going to replace all of that. Actually, what I'm going to do is put it under there. I probably should be game to replace function game over, but I'm not. I'm going to take it. So there you go. I've got it twice. Okay, and now I'm just going to quickly tidy this up. This shouldn't take very long, so you can stay with me for this. There we go. And that again gets run back to the side and tabbed out. So this is telling it what to do when the game is over, and also telling us what to do when the game begins. Now the score there was actually misbehaving. Oh, there you go. Score is not declared in the current scope. Well, that's okay. I'm sure that's coming. So again, I'm just going to save that. So, yep, so I'm setting that up. Now connect the timeout signal of each of the timer modes. So start timer, score timer, and mob timer to the main script. Okay. Start timer will start the other two timers that will increment by 1. So I'm wondering if this is something, now connect the timeout signal, whether this is what this code below does, or whether this is something that I'm meant to be doing. I might just have a quick look at that. Okay, so let's see if I can work this out. It says now connect the timeout signal of each of the timer modes. Well, they were actually over in the main. So I'm just going to click on main here, and you'll see that I've got my main node returned to me, and I've got mob timer there. Okay, well, mob timer is one of the ones they're talking about. Oh, actually they're not, they're start timer. Good, there's start timer, so let's use that. Start timer, it says look for the timeout signal and connect it to the main script. Okay, well, let's see if I can do that. So there's start timer. Over here is the inspector and the nodes, and there's the timeout signal. Now, what does it want to connect to? It says connect to script, and there's main. Okay, and so I'm just going to click connect. There we go. I think I know what's going on here. All right, that's good. So what else does it want me to connect? Score timer, sure. So score timer, I click on timeout, and again I connect it to the main script. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same here for mob timer. So mob timer, and I'm collecting on timeout, and I'm collecting to the main script, which is that there. So connect. Okay, no great surprises there. They're all sitting in there in main. So when I look down, I see, there we go, score timer will increment. Okay, so this is the code here, on score timer underscore timeout. Well, let's just see where that is. On score timer underscore timeout. So if I paste that in, and this is where it's getting, so that is the same as that. So I'm going to take that one there out because I've replaced it. And that one there is the same as that one there, which is on starter timeout. So they are duplicates. Okay, well, that's good to know. And you'll see here that it's giving me errors because those should be tabs. But again, we're probably fairly used to fixing these at that point. There we go. Okay, that all looks good. I'm going to save it just to be sure. Okay, so we've put that code on. It says on mob timer timeout we'll create a mob instance, pick a random starting location along the path and set it in motion. So we'll automatically do this when we spawn this. So I think that rather than being instructions to me, this is just a description of what this code here will do. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in down here. Now, this is on mob timer timeout, so this is a duplicate of that. So I'm getting rid of that, and now I'm going to fast forward and fix up all of these spaces. Okay, so that all should work. I put all of those in and I sorted it out. Okay, so let's test the scene and make sure that everything is working. All right, so here I'm going to add this new game to function ready. Okay, well, I'll copy that. Function ready, which is up nowhere actually. I haven't got one of those yet. So function ready, new game, and again, that needs indenting, so that's thrown things out. There we go. Function new game. Now, why wouldn't that be working? Okay. From ready. Now, let me just have a look here. So, in our main scene, let's assign main as our main scene. Okay. So, let me just check. Let's test new game to ready. In what function? What am I in? I'm in main. You know what? It is giving me that error, but I don't know why. So I'm just going to save that. And now what it's telling me to do is that I need to set my main scene as the set as main scene. That sounds pretty straightforward. So I go to main, which is here. And then actually, if I go down here, main GD, there we go. Yeah, it actually says all sorts of things there, but I don't see the thing that tells me to make it the main. Oh, it's because I'm clicking on the wrong one. So, this is the main scene. I right-click it on main TSCN, and I set it as main. And now, let's see what happens when I try and run this. Okay, so it says that it couldn't find new game in the base of self. So there it is. There's my new game, which should be a function. I'm wondering if it's in any of my other things. It isn't. Maybe I forgot to put it in. So let's go back to main, because it's trying to call this function here, but it doesn't seem to know about this function. So let's see if there's something that I missed here. So there's all of that stuff there. Yep, and none of that's new game. What I might actually do, there it is, new game. So I'm just going to do a Command F on here and see if I've just forgotten to put this code in. The following will add a new function. There it is. So that is game over. I could have sworn I'd put that in. Game over. All right. So, yep. Where are we here? Just give me a minute while I work this out. The main game scene. There it is. Let's see if I can find that again. So, player node. This is in the main script. Okay, well, let's see if I've got game over and so forth in my main script. There's my main script. And no, in fact, I didn't have either of those things. So now I put them in, and I just need to tidy them up a little bit. So that function needs to go in. I don't know quite how I managed to miss that, but I did, and that's okay. So just get rid of those spaces, and go over there, and tidy these up so that now that exists, there we go. Now I do have something called game over, and I have something called new game. Okay, so I save and I run. So we launch it again. There it is. Now it's saying score equals 0. So what I might do for now is I'm just going to take that out, because I suspect we haven't set up the score yet. I don't know quite why it would tell us to have it there, but there it is. And I'm moving around, and amazingly, I have in fact got it working. So that, at the end of a 20-minute video, is in fact my game working and moving around. So let's call that done, and I hope that you're in a similar space too.